Hey everybody, welcome back. This is the second operation for the stem part. I'm going to pick up where we left off at the end of op1. So our op1 is complete. And so on this part, rather than getting all crazy with the STL and verify, we're just going to keep it simple and go with a second toolpath group and create our second operation. So to do that, what we're going to need to do is sort of like we did on the last one, we're going to need to copy this model, rotate it 180 degrees, and then put it on a different level. So let's go ahead and do that first. I'm going to do a right click top. That's going to put my CNT, everything back on the top plane. So I have to remember to put my CNT back to the plus D plus Z before I create any more toolpaths. But for manipulating the geometry and stuff, it's nice to be back on the top coordinate system. So I'm going to go ahead and select the model and transform, rotate, and I want to copy, and my angle of rotation is going to be 180 degrees. Okay, just like that. Green check. Now I'm going to put this on a different level. So look at my levels. Everything so far is on level 1. So I'll click on that model that we just created as a copy. Select it. And going to go to the Home tab. And I'm going to click on the changed level icon right here. And I'm going to uncheck Use Active Level. And I'm going to change the level name to 2. Press the Enter key. And you can see now on level 2 I have one entity, which is that new model. And so I can click on the number 2 to make that the active level, and click on the X for level 1 to hide that level 1 stuff. And I'll go ahead and give this a name, OP2. Okay, so alright, so excuse me. Next thing, we go ahead and move the model into place. So select it and transform, translate. Nope, that's not right. Let's see. What we want to do is we want to have a move, and it's going to be from 2, so we want to go from the center line, from the center point here on the front to the origin, just like that. And green check. Again. So now our second operation model is in the right spot. Need to do a couple of things here. To fix the model, we're going to add the chamfer on the 2 corners. Also, this thing was not modeled at the right diameter, so we'll go ahead and fix that as well. So I'm going to need to switch planes because I want to draw a circle here and extrude that back. So planes, I'm going to go to the right plane and do a right click top in here. Okay, so that's the right standard right plane, and when you do a right click top with that plane selected, now you'll get a view like this, right? So we got to remember when we draw any wireframe geometry, it's always going to be in the XY plane of the current coordinate system. All right, so this thing was modeled at diameter 211, which is more like the minor diameter for the threads. That's going to be a 1/4-28 thread. So we actually want this diameter to be about 246. So go ahead and draw that circle. Wireframe circle, and center point is going to be at the origin. And my diameter is going to be 0.246. And green check. And then now I'll move over to solids and extrude. Select that circle that we just drew. Green check. Alright, so we're going to extrude. It's going to be a add boss, okay, because we want to merge it with the existing model and not have it be a separate entity. So add boss, and it's obviously going the wrong direction, so we'll click on the reverse all button here, a little left right arrow. Alright, and then the distance. Should have measured that first. Alright, so we'll go with 0.375. So unlike the step holder, on this one we are going to put a relief there for the thread because we do want to be able to screw that thread all the way in up to the shoulder even if need be. So 375, and it should look like this, and then we'll hit a green check. Alright, and now we can go ahead and add a couple of chamfers. So we'll go keep it on solids and one distance chamfer. I'm going to select this edge and this edge. Green check. 10 thousandths. Green check. That looks good. So now we'll go ahead and switch back to our top plane. Bring everything, WCS, CNT, everything to the top coordinate system. Right click top. Put my phone on silent mode. Alright, and then we're going to click on the C column next to the plus D plus Z plane. Just like that. So now we get the C and the T with the plus D plus Z plane, and the WCS stays with the top. Okay. So now we have our phantom stock here, right? So that's going to be a problem when we create our toolpaths. So what we can do is we can expand these toolpaths here. If you look down here at the bottom of each set of toolpath parameters, it says update stock. So if we click on that for each one, now you can see our phantom stock goes back to normal. So now it's not looking at these toolpaths anymore. So now we can go ahead and create toolpaths for the second operation. without issue. Okay, so we're going to need one more thing, another toolpath group. So right click on the machine group, go to groups, and new toolpath group. Alright, so first toolpath is going to be facing, right? There's really no change. So what we can do is we can actually copy this toolpath down from the first toolpath group. So if I right click and hold the button, drag it down, release, copy after. Alright, same facing toolpath. So now we're going to go ahead and rough out the material. Go to my turning toolpaths and rough. I'm going to choose solid chaining. I'm going to move in here, zoom in. My first entity is going to be here on the front on that chamfer. And then my last entity is going to be on the chamfer here. We already did this shoulder in the last op. Green check. Sticking with our same roughing tool. Going with 5,000 feed rate and 200 spindle, just like before. Max of 2,000, just like before. Coolant is on. Rough parameters, everything should be the same, because again, remember, Mastercam remembers from the last toolpath, roughing toolpath that we created. So everything should be the same, and we shouldn't really have to make any adjustments. So green check, and there we go. And follow that up with the finish toolpath. Looks like there's no option to use the last like we did like we're able to with the wireframe. So we'll have to go and pick it again. So zoom in to that front chamfer. We should get our arrows pointing up and to the left. And then select that last chamfer there, just like we did before. Green check. Alright. Go with the same 5,000 feed rate and 200 spindle, 2,000 max. And finish parameters. Let's see, let's just go ahead and double check because I think we adjusted it. Nope. Nope, everything's good. So green check there. Okay, there we go. So now we want to do our relief. Okay. And so for our relief, we're going to use our part off tool, basically just like parting off, but obviously we're not going to go all the way through the part. So pretty simple. We'll go with a cutoff toolpath. Cutoff boundary point. I'm going to select the top of the cylinder here. We're going to use our same part off tool, 1212. We go with 1.5 thousandths feed rate and the same spindle speed. And since we are not going to actually cut the part off, we can allow that spindle to go a little higher. So I'll go with 1,000 RPM on the max. And then for my cutoff parameters, I'm going to change my back face stock back to 0. So I want it to come down right here on this spot. And then I'm going to use the tangent point, the X tangent point. Click on that. And sorry. Doesn't want to snap to the quadrant, so I'll come up here to the auto cursor, drop down, and I'm going to go with quadrant right there. Looks like that put in a radius amount. I'm going to multiply that times 2. And so 190 will be our relief diameter there. All right. Everything else looks good. Let's see what that looks like. I don't like that, do we? Let's go back and fix that. So parameters. Looks like we want back radius. And maybe it does want a radius for that X tangent point. So green check. We'll have to see how that looks in the code. Regenerate. And now, at least in Mastercam, looks like we're going to the right spot. So green check that. And then now we just have to add the thread. So just like before, do a thread toolpath. Using our same that's tool number 8 in the machine. And we want to go to our thread shape parameters. So our threads per inch on this one's actually 28. Okay, major diameter. Let's see, let's go ahead and do select from table. Let's see, unified. Scroll down here. Quarter 28. Green check. Alright, it's going to update those numbers for us. Alright, start position is 0. End position minus 0.375. And thread cut parameters. We don't have to mess with this. We'll just use the same as last time. So let's check that real quick. So you notice how it updated our feed rate. Okay. So green check. A little back plot real quick to see. So we might want to bring that a little bit further back to get past that shoulder. No big deal. We'll just come back here and go minus 0.4. Check regenerate. There we go. And check. And give it a save. And if we want, we can do a 3D verify. Alright, so this is that thing where it's not going to look exactly right, because we didn't use the STL and all that stuff. But otherwise, we have the tool paths, so we're good to go. And that's that. See you on the next one.